General Hospital spoilers reveal that Sofia Mattson's abrupt and emotionally unfulfilling departure from General Hospital has become more than just a momentary shock. It has transformed into a fiasco of controversy and a glaring symbol of the creative instability plaguing the show. Behind the scenes, a chorus of rumors and insider speculation has suggested that Sofia, far from exiting quietly, has expressed deep dissatisfaction with the direction the writers chose for her character Sasha, whose harrowing journey over the years captivated viewers and offered a raw, emotionally grounded core amid the chaos of Port Charles. According to growing fan chatter and whispers from production insiders, Sofia was not only blindsided by the decision to write Sasha out, but increasingly frustrated by how the once vibrant and resilient character was reduced to a convenient narrative casualty, pushed off-screen without a conclusive arc or meaningful send-off. It's not merely that Sasha left, it's how she left, slipping away to an undisclosed location with her child and parents, in what felt like a plot afterthought rather than a moment of resolution. For a character who had survived addiction, the death of a child, mental health struggles, and the loss of a spouse, this quiet disappearance rang hollow for many, including, it seems, the actress who brought her to life. What has escalated this moment into a broader reckoning, however, is not just Sofia's exit, it's the increasingly visible pattern of legacy erosion at General Hospital. The writer's failure to honor Sasha's trajectory parallels a troubling wave of exits, recasts, and sidelined veterans that have left fans wondering whether the soul of the show is slowly slipping through the cracks. Mattson's character was not just a supporting figure, she was, for years, the emotional anchor for some of the show's most intense storylines. Her battles were visceral, her triumphs hard-earned, and her pain always deeply human. That such a richly developed character could be dispatched with little fanfare feels, to many, like a betrayal of both Sasha's legacy and Sofia's dedication to the role. Though Sofia has not publicly aired grievances in the form of a formal statement, many believe her exit speaks volumes. Social media silence, lack of promotional support, and reports of behind-the-scenes tension all point to an actress who no longer felt respected or creatively fulfilled. And fans have taken notice. On message boards and across fan sites, the outrage is palpable. Sasha's departure is viewed not as a necessary plot twist but as a symptom of a deeper illness within the writing room. There's an undeniable sense that GH's leadership has lost touch with what made the show great: emotional continuity, respect for character history, and the ability to honor the journeys of both the actors and the audience. Compounding the damage is the show's ongoing hemorrhaging of beloved talent. In the last 2 years alone, viewers have seen a disheartening exodus of actors who once formed the bedrock of General Hospital. Whether it's due to budgetary constraints, creative disagreements, or a fundamental shift in narrative priorities, the trend is unmistakable. And Sofia's departure has become the lightning rod for this discontent. Her rumored criticisms, while still shrouded in confidentiality, resonate precisely because they echo what so many viewers already feel. It's not just about one actress or one character, it's about a show that once knew how to tell powerful stories with heart and care, now seemingly more interested in shock value and plot mechanics than emotional resonance. Even more telling is the timing of Sasha's exit, which came just as several storylines were intersecting in ways that could have reinvigorated the character. With the return of characters like Britt, Victor's shadow looming once again, and the continued psychological unraveling of Willow, Sasha's presence could have been more relevant than ever. Instead, she was removed just when her character might have found a renewed purpose. That decision, whether driven by creative exhaustion or internal politics, now feels emblematic of a show adrift. Sofia Mattsson, who had poured so much of herself into Sasha, is widely believed to have felt dismissed and creatively sidelined, a sentiment shared by multiple veterans over the past year. In the wake of her departure, the fanbase has only become more vocal, more disillusioned, and more fearful that General Hospital is careening toward a future where character depth and loyalty mean less than short-term spectacle. Sofia's rumored frustration, combined with the show's failure to honor Sasha's exit with weight and dignity, has become a rallying cry for viewers longing for the return of meaningful storytelling. As the dust settles, Many are now left wondering whether GH's showrunners will listen, or continue down a path that risks alienating not only its most talented performers, but the very audience that has stood by for decades. For now, the question remains painfully open: is this merely another bump in the road, or a sign that the legacy of General Hospital is at greater risk than ever before? The behind-the-scenes tension at General Hospital has reached a fever pitch, with mounting speculation that the show's creative leadership is growing increasingly frustrated over what it perceives as betrayal from within its own cast. Central to this storm is the contentious departure of Sofia Mattsson and the unresolved arc of her beloved character, Sasha, a narrative thread that remains as emotionally potent and dramatically charged as ever. Despite the actress's exit, the character of Sasha continues to pulse with narrative potential. And that very fact appears to be driving a quiet but fierce recalibration within the GH writers' room. The unresolved fate of Sasha Gilmore Corbin has become both a problem and an opportunity for the show. It represents an open wound for fans still reeling from the abrupt send-off, but also a strategic card the showrunners seem unwilling to leave unplayed. In recent weeks, signs have emerged that GH is preparing to forge ahead with the Sasha storyline regardless of Sofia's involvement. A move that underscores both the intensity of their commitment to the plot and their readiness to recast the role altogether. The whispers of behind-the-scenes betrayal have only added fuel to this narrative fire. From the show's perspective, Sofia's alleged criticisms, whether public or private, may have crossed an invisible line, making her return not only unlikely but undesired. There's an increasing sense that GH is eager to reclaim control of Sasha's story and reassert its authority by proving that no single actor is indispensable. It's a bold stance, one that signals a willingness to sacrifice continuity in service of creative momentum. As such, rumors have begun swirling that a recast is not only possible but imminent, and that a new actress may soon step into Sasha's shoes to reignite the character's journey. This potential reshaping of Sasha, while controversial, would allow the show to explore fresh dimensions of her storyline, especially as connections to the WSB, Daisy's mysterious paternity, and the shadowy threats circling Port Charles continue to deepen. For the writers and producers, the decision to move forward without Sofia could be viewed as a calculated assertion of narrative control. It sends a message that no character's arc is immune to redirection. The show's long legacy of recasts, from Carly to Jason to Lucky, has proven that such transitions, though often divisive, can lead to reinvention and longevity. In this case, Sasha's exit was never truly an ending, and that ambiguity gives GH permission to rewrite her trajectory with a new face and renewed purpose. More critically, it serves as a symbolic message that the show will not be held hostage by off-screen tensions or perceived betrayals, and that the story must, and will, go on. At the same time, this decision is not without risks. Recasting Sasha so soon after Sofia's departure threatens to alienate a fiercely loyal fan base, many of whom saw the actress and character as inseparable. The backlash could be severe, especially if the transition is handled without sensitivity or narrative justification. But for GH, which is no stranger to polarizing creative choices, the gamble might be worth it, especially if it leads to reinvigorated ratings and a compelling new chapter for Sasha. All of this speaks to a larger truth, that General Hospital, as a show and institution, is currently in the throes of transformation. Long-running arcs are being dismantled, legacies are being challenged, and the very structure of character ownership is being redefined. The fallout from Sofia's exit has revealed just how fragile and combustible these relationships can be, especially when personal dissatisfaction collides with public storytelling. Yet in the midst of this chaos, the writers seem determined to seize back the narrative reins. Sasha's story is far from over. In fact, it may only now be entering its most volatile and compelling phase. Whether or not the viewers follow them into this next chapter will depend not only on who wears Sasha's face next, but on how the show honors the emotional legacy that Sofia built over years of committed, nuanced performance. In the end, what's unfolding is more than a casting shakeup. It's a test of creative resilience, a tug-of-war between actor autonomy and showrunner vision. and a case study in how a beloved character's unfinished story can become the battleground for deeper institutional change. As the dust settles, one thing is certain. The drama at General Hospital is no longer confined to the screen. Chad Duell and Sofia Mattsson, two of General Hospital's most prominent and emotionally resonant stars, have shaken the soap opera world by stepping away from their long-standing roles, simultaneously igniting a whirlwind of speculation, outrage, and intrigue among fans and insiders alike. In a move that many have described as both bold and defiant, the pair have announced their departure from Port Charles not as a temporary hiatus, but as a conscious, permanent pivot toward a new creative frontier. Their exit signals more than the loss of beloved characters. It represents a growing wave of disillusionment with the direction of the series. And it exposes a brewing dissatisfaction among actors who have long served the ever-changing needs of daytime drama without being afforded meaningful narrative evolution. For both Chad and Sofia, their decision to not return to GH is not rooted in controversy, scandal, or personal issues. It is a resounding artistic declaration. Sofia, whose portrayal of Sasha has journeyed through grief, addiction, trauma, and resilience, reportedly grew increasingly disillusioned with how her character was mishandled in recent months. Fans were quick to notice a disturbing shift in the storytelling. Sasha was abruptly removed from major storylines, thrust into a hurried, emotionally unsatisfying exit that left little room for resolution or tribute. The writers had built her arc into a tragic heroine, only to dismantle it without grace. Chad's Michael, once central to the Corinthos legacy, had also been relegated to a shell of his former presence, drifting in plotlines that lacked depth or long-term significance. While both actors continued to deliver compelling performances, it became evident their creative potential was being consistently undermined. Their decision to part ways with GH did not come with fanfare, but the silence surrounding their departure was telling. Behind the scenes, both Chad and Sofia had reportedly expressed frustration with repetitive plotlines, chaotic rewrites, and the lack of character-driven development. Rather than conform to the diminishing returns of traditional soap storytelling, they chose reinvention. Together, they are now preparing to launch an entirely new project, rumored to be an independent psychological drama that will allow them to explore complex characters in morally gray narratives. For the first time in years, they will not be confined to legacy arcs, romantic triangles, or death and revival cycles that define the genre. They will be free to build characters from scratch, to shape stories that reflect emotional truth, and to challenge the very tropes that once defined their fame. The announcement of their creative partnership has lit a fire across the GH fandom. Some mourn their departure, recognizing the void it leaves in the narrative fabric of the show. Others, however, are celebrating this transformation as a triumphant escape. After years of service to a show that is increasingly criticized for abandoning logic in favor of shock value, these actors are no longer waiting for better storylines to find them, they are creating their own. Their joint exit has sparked broader discussions about the creative stagnation in soap operas. How many more actors will follow their path before the structure of daytime television is forced to evolve? Can a genre built on tradition survive when its most promising talent no longer sees a future in it? Even more striking is the way Chad and Sofia have handled the backlash. In interviews, social media posts, and subtle allusions, they've maintained a sense of purpose. They have not lashed out. But they also haven't shied away from addressing the creative disappointment that fueled their exit. Sofia has reportedly been vocal about her belief that Sasha's story was prematurely cut and emotionally squandered. Chad, in turn, has hinted at feeling constrained by storylines that refuse to allow Michael to mature past the orbit of his father's shadow. Now, with full creative control, they are poised to turn the tables. Their upcoming project will not only star them in lead roles but also feature them in behind-the-scenes roles, producers, co-writers, and possibly even co-directors. It's a passion project fueled by years of creative suppression, and they are treating it not merely as a job but as a revolution. This decision comes at a time when General Hospital is facing deeper criticism than ever before. Recent months have seen an exodus of core characters and actors, many citing similar frustrations with the show's lack of cohesion and character respect. With Chad and Sofia joining this silent protest, the message to ABC is loud and clear: loyalty must be earned, not assumed. In their departure, GH is losing not just two actors, it's losing two narrative pillars who carried years of emotional weight with authenticity and heart. Fans still recall Sasha's heartbreaking spiral, Michael's struggles with identity and legacy, and the potential both had to continue anchoring the series' next chapter. Now, that potential will manifest elsewhere. And what of Port Charles without Michael and Sasha? Their absence will create inevitable vacuums, both emotional and narrative. GH may choose to recast, or they may attempt to write them out entirely. But no replacement will match the lived-in performances Chad and Sofia provided, no new storyline will replicate the nuanced chemistry they brought. And no spin will erase the fact that GH allowed two of its brightest stars to walk away. The chaos of their departure is a mirror reflecting the show's current instability. Still, for Chad and Sofia, chaos is the birthplace of reinvention. Their new journey, unburdened by the past, free from executive constraints, may very well redefine how post-soap success is measured. They are not merely leaving. They are leveling up. They are no longer actors waiting for a script, they are authors of a new future. And as fans wait for trailers, casting announcements, and premiere dates, one thing becomes clear: this is not the end of their story. It is the beginning of something far more personal, far more fearless, and far more thrilling than anything Port Charles ever offered. Sofia Mattson's growing rift with General Hospital is quickly evolving from a quiet departure into the early tremors of a public reckoning, one that could reshape the way fans, insiders, and cast members perceive the inner workings of daytime television's most storied soap. For years, Sofia embodied Sasha's heartbreaks and triumphs with an emotional vulnerability that resonated deeply with audiences. But in the wake of her abrupt exit and the lack of closure afforded to her character, industry speculation has surged that a larger storm is brewing behind the scenes. The tension between Sofia and GH is no longer subtle. Whispers of dissatisfaction have turned into pointed rumors, suggesting that the actress may be holding back explosive truths about the toxic dynamics, mishandled storylines, and emotional tolls that have quietly rotted the creative heart of Port Charles. But when that silence is broken by someone who has lived inside it, the result can be catastrophic. Fans have already noticed inconsistencies in Sasha's exit. Why was one of the show's most emotionally invested arcs closed off so suddenly? Why was there no build-up, no proper farewell? No satisfying resolution for a character who had carried so much emotional weight? These aren't just creative missteps. They're signs of a deeper misalignment between the vision of the writers and the voices of the actors. Sofia's frustration, reportedly fueled by last-minute rewrites and a total lack of agency in Sasha's fate, could be the crack in the dam. If she were to share even a fraction of the truth, via a podcast, interview, memoir, or social media video, it would likely open the floodgates. What's especially dangerous for GH is that Sofia may not be alone. Others in the cast, including past exits and sideline veterans, may have experienced similar disillusionment. In Sofia's bravery, they might find their own voice. As more high-profile actors like Chad Duell also seem to distance themselves from the show's current creative trajectory, the narrative behind the camera threatens to become more compelling, and damning, than anything on screen. There are even murmurs that a handful of actors have begun documenting their experiences privately, in case the situation escalates. That documentation could include emails, scripts, or notes that show how storylines were changed to diminish certain characters or sideline actors with strong fanbases. It may also include accounts of power struggles, favoritism, mental health consequences, and broken promises, especially for performers who were publicly reassured of long-term arcs that were quietly cancelled. For Sofia, whose portrayal of Sasha included devastating material like addiction, grief, and postpartum trauma, the work was personal. She has spoken in the past about how deeply she connected to Sasha's pain and growth. To be written out with such abrupt coldness not only invalidated that work, but left her emotionally unmoored. That pain, if voiced, will resonate with fans who also feel cheated out of closure. But it would also raise urgent questions for the showrunners. Why are emotionally rich characters being discarded? Why are beloved actresses like Sofia, who gave so much of themselves, being cast aside without ceremony? Her voice could become a rallying cry for accountability in an industry that has too long survived on opaque power structures and backroom deals. Executives at ABC may scramble to control the damage. Perhaps spinning her exit as a creative decision or mutual choice, but the authenticity of Sofia's perspective will likely overpower any corporate statement. With fans increasingly skeptical of GH's direction, especially after losing legacy characters, stumbling through bizarre plots, and mishandling cast dynamics, Sofia's story could cement a larger narrative that General Hospital is losing its soul in the pursuit of short-term drama. And in an era where actors have direct access to their audiences through platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Substack, the power no longer belongs solely to the network. If Sofia decides to speak, she will be heard, clearly, powerfully, and perhaps irreversibly. The fallout could include massive fan backlash, boycotts, public demands for showrunner resignations, and even potential changes in how networks manage daytime contracts and talent treatment. If other cast members begin echoing her concerns, the situation could escalate into one of the biggest PR crises in soap history. For now, Sofia remains silent, but that silence is heavy with implication. Every day that passes without resolution only heightens the sense that a reckoning is near. And should she break that silence, she may not only reclaim her narrative but ignite a movement among the silenced voices of daytime TV. One thing is clear, this is no longer just a story about a character's exit. It is a battle over dignity, creativity, and the emotional labor of performance. And it may soon reshape everything fans thought they knew about General Hospital.